Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I'm back with another episode of Start Before You're Ready with a very special guest. I think you guys are really going to enjoy hearing from Bob Kehoe today. Bob is coming on his 3-year anniversary with KBC, and I'll tell you something about Bob. When he started, I could tell that he was going to be successful in his journey with KBC. Just by the way he spoke, because he spoke with conviction. He's like, he knew right away. He's a very decisive man. He's like, I like this. This is good. This is what I need. I'll be back. I'm going to come to this class. I'm like, why can't everyone be like Bob? And some people are like Bob, and they're very confident, and they know that it's what they like, but then they fall off for some reason or another. But that is not the case with Bob. Bob has been incredibly consistent, and he knows what he likes, and he sticks to the schedule that he likes. And he does a really, really good job of not only working out, because he's a beast in the fitness studio or outside at Energy, but he does a great job of making it fun for some of the other people and the other guys. There's certain people that when they come to class is just a little bit more fun. Like, he's one of the ones the instructors and I might like fight over. Like, I want Bob to come to my class. No, I want Bob to come to my class, because he's just a great guy. So Bob, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Just tell everyone a little bit more about you. They know you as Workout Bob, Big Bob, all the things. What else do we need to know besides that?
Well, I'm from I always like to tell people I'm from Chicago. I grew up on the northwest side of the city and lived there for 32 years. So I'll always be a Chicagoan. I relocated to Northern Virginia in 2001. My older brother and I owned a company out here, and I had 2 little kids at the time. And my first friend when I moved here was Ted Moore. He was the first person. He's the first person I met. And so Ted and I have now been friends for 20 years. But yeah, it was the first guy I met out there.
Yes. And Ted is the one that brought you to boot camp.
He is.
He's the one who brought you to Dude Camp. He must have, when we started Dude Camp, you guys were running buddies before. So I think you did some races together and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we ran the Marine Corps Marathon in 2011. And so I would say 2008 to 2012, Ted and I were running buddies. I started another company in 2013, and I quit running.
Okay.
I quit exercising altogether. It was probably about a 9-year run of not really doing much in the exercise world. After a long run of doing it, I was really busy growing this company, and I just didn't prioritize it, which wasn't great. I think that when you're in your 30s and 40s, you can get away with it. You're not going to feel it as bad because you can bounce back a lot quicker. I think that, as I got a little older, I started realizing that I needed to keep my muscle mass up because it was starting to go away. And then Ted and I were sitting at a party one day, and I said, I really got to get back in shape. This isn't going great. And he said, well, I go to this place called Energy. It's KBC. You should come to the thing. We got a thing on Sundays called Dude Camp. You should come. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I'm surprised he didn't mention it sooner.
I know. This is what I say to a lot of my members. Bob could have been mine 15 years ago.
Why didn't you mention it? Anyway, so I wound up showing up to the boot camp, and I don't know, it felt like gym class. I told you that before.
That's some people's worst nightmare, Bob. So it doesn't always feel like gym class. Well, you and I love gym class.
But when you excelled at gym class, you love gym class. And so I'm at 50 years old doing bear crawls again, which is fantastic. I'm doing bear crawls, hopping over things and lifting heavy things. And, it fit me really well. Right.
Yeah.
So, I told you when we were running that one time, I told you that you remind me of an offensive line coach in a small person's body.
You did not say the small person's body part. You did not say that. You said you remind me of an offensive line coach. That's what you said. Okay, well, I screamed at you, Bob. You left the small person's body out.
I had some big burly offensive line coaches, and Anyway, so but that whole attitude, right? And it was very, it's go, very positive, and let's get after it, and it's, it fit me really well. I think this is the only time that I've ever exercised in my life that I actually look forward to going.
Oh, what a great compliment.
I love it. It's fun and it's different, and your trainers that you have are phenomenal. They all do a great job.
Yeah.
And it's 45 minutes. I think that, you say it's too short, the 45-minute class on Monday. And I know you think about that, but that class is so intense for 45 minutes. If I look at my zone afterward, it equals some of the 60-minute classes.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's too short. I'm just saying I get anxious that I feel like we have a lot to do in 45 minutes. So I feel like, and that's why, yes, I don't think I love 45-minute workouts. They've convinced me. I was an hour girl for a long time. I was like, I need an hour. And now the community has convinced me that they like a combination of both, which is good.
It in an hour. We get after it. I mean, I know I leave Monday nights, and I know I worked out after that 45 minutes.
Yeah. I love you in that class. That's fun to have you in that class. Well, okay, so let's go back a little bit, Bob, because one of the things that we like this podcast to do is to help people either get started with a routine or get back into routine or enhance the routine. And I always think it's good to kind of go back to when you weren't working out, right? So you were busy. Your kids were younger at that time, probably. They were probably still home, and you're a serial entrepreneur, and you love to go. And when you get juiced up about something, that's you really focused on that, and that's why you've been so successful in business. But talk about when you went to the doctor, when you weren't doing anything, and what he had to say to you.
Yeah, well, when I got a great doctor named Dr. Mancini. I actually have Mo's going to the same doctor now.
I know, which is great. And Mo, that's been so good for Mo. We're going to talk about that. Keep going. Sorry.
Fantastic. So his name is Dr. Mancini. He's over here at Rocky Run Family Medicine. I had put on some weight. I was about 30 pounds heavier than I am now, and and my numbers were not great. Cholesterol was too high. Just the things that you start to see when you're not doing the things you need to do to be healthy, and and so I started to feel it. And so he said to me, he goes, "Listen, Bob, I'm gonna tell you right now." He goes, "Dying is really easy. Living like an invalid is hard." And I said, "That's an amazing thing to say, Dr. Mancini." But he's right. We got a finite amount of time here, and you go downhill quick, right? And I can tell you now, be a little straightforward, be pretty blunt. I see the guys I play golf with at the club, and I got two golf partners. They're both mid-60s. Both of them, they walk every time that they golf. They get their exercise in, they eat right, and they look fantastic, right? And then you see the guys that ride the carts that, don't walk, and they drink a lot and still at their age. So that's a big one, the alcohol. I see the people that drink a lot, and they start to look bad.
Yeah, it ages you for sure.
Very quickly. So anyway, so Dr. Mancini said, "Hey, listen, probably, start thinking about it." And then, and I think it coincided with me saying to Ted, I need to get back into shape. And,
yep.
And then it all just lined up.
Yeah, because you said it to me when you came. You quoted your doctor. And I think that's important because some doctors aren't as blunt, and they kind of wish you around it, and they say things that don't really have the kind of power that what he said. And the timing is everything, but I do think it's important to have those kind of conversations. And
he's an Army doctor, Dr. Mancini's an Army doctor.
That makes sense.
I've been with him now a long time, and he's very blunt. But I like blunt people. I like blunt people.
Well.
So.
Yeah. And you've done a lot in the time that I've known you, in the 3 years that I've known you, you have done a lot for your health, I think. And it's not always perfect, right? Like it was just not like a straight line, like get better, get better, get better. But one of the things that I like to brag about with you, Bob, is you're big, you're a big guy. Weight, like how much do you weigh right now?
In-bodied yesterday at 253.
253. And your body fat's under 20%.
But I'm also 6'4". Make sure you say that. So.
Oh, well, Okay. Yeah, that makes a difference. Yeah, that makes a difference. But it's so important, just like as you mentioned, hanging on to your muscle. And it doesn't just happen. I don't care if you played football in college. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You don't hang on to your muscle unless you are making efforts to do so. And you're just such a good example. And for a guy like you, I think that the style of workouts that we do and your program in particular, like I know your workout schedule and what you do, and you do a mix, like you do like a strength and conditioning class on Monday, you do a circuit on Tuesday, Friday you do a strength class, and then Sunday's dude camp, which is like more metabolic and, sometimes strength, but that's what you need. You don't need to go into the weight room and bench, you don't need to do that. That's not what your body needs.
Well, that's what I thought working out was. I thought working out was, going to lift weights, because that's kind of like, the mentality you have growing up. It's like you go in, okay, working out is, maybe a walk on the treadmill or something, but cardio is not a thing. And you think that you got to go bench press all this weight. But then what I saw was like I didn't realize, at first I realized, am I working out? I didn't know I was working out. Didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I'm getting anything. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm jumping on a BOSU. I got this thing and like, oh, okay, this is, then I'd go and I'd look at the heart rate monitor and I'd say, wow, okay, I did get a workout. Look at this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's really, I learned a ton about what real exercise is.
Yeah.
When I started doing it. Another thing I love is that it's a class, right? And this is for people who aren't going, for me, the best thing about this whole deal is the fact that it's a certain time that I have to show up. It's on my calendar. I show up and I do my thing and I go. I'm not going to get, locker room in a big production to do. You're there to do you get in, you do your workout, you get out, right? On boot camp Sundays, we get in, we do our workout, we go have coffee with the guys, right? We get a bunch of really cool guys that go to boot camp. They're awesome people, right? For anybody, going back to what we started talking about was like if you're sitting around doing nothing right now, I think the best thing to do is like, just make a plan to go to one class. Mm-hmm. Just give it a try. Yep. Just go to a class, and who knows, maybe that'll lead to a second class, which is some people are just going to jump in, like Scott, right? Big Scott. He came in and, I told him, hey, you should go to this dude camp thing we got. And Scott, just like Ted did for me. And then Scott shows up, and now he's a KBC stalwart, right? He's there all the time, and he's getting healthier and getting better. So, you see the trajectory of people when they join, now that I've been around for 3 years. I love to see the people who got the 100th class, right? I love seeing that. I think that's fantastic. So
yeah, well, didn't you just get 200 or you got something big? 500. 500, sorry. But I kind of thought it was 500, but then I'm like, that's a lot in 3 years. Well, I guess that's a really good pace. And that's what we want. I mean, that's the kind of consistency that we want. Like when people say to me, hey, Kelly, how many workouts a week should I do? And really the answer is whatever you can keep doing, right? Versus like, don't go. That was one of the reasons why I knew you were going to be successful, Bob, because you were very specific about what you were going to do. And it was, it wasn't like, I'm just going to come every day or I'm going to come as much as I can. It was like, I play golf. You were working around other things that were important to you. And
you always say that people that start out going every single day aren't the ones that are going to make it usually.
It's so true. It's so true.
A pattern there.
Yeah, it's really, really true. And I think the fact that you like it and you believe in it, right? That's like another component of successful people is they really have to believe in it. When people understand that, hey, if I prioritize for you, it's 4 hours a week. 3-4 hours a week. If I can get there 3-4 hours a week, and just like you said, you're just getting, it's not a big production. It's not like you have to get there a half hour early. Our students walk in when class starts. We're fine with that. We know they're busy. We get them out the door because there's another class coming in. If you can do that consistently, the results really, really come. And you also have taken on like some nutritional challenges. I think that's what you're referring to when you said you learned a lot. Tell us, Bob, what do you think you've learned from a nutrition standpoint since joining KBC?
It was great. The big thing for me was the whole, and I already kind of knew it, but the whole idea of sugar, just being the absolute enemy to everything, right? I never really put two and two together as far as like watching my body, how it felt after I had too much sugar. What I realized is that the arthritis, as you get age, you're going to get arthritis, right? And I realized how much it gets inflamed by sugar. And that was a really big thing. And then, working with Amy in the Clean and Shred, was really tracking the food, tracking what you're eating and looking at the ingredients and knowing what to eat, what not to eat. A lot of great meals, a lot of great recipes and things that she shared that are actually tasty. But I'm, again, like you said earlier, nobody's perfect, right? When it comes to this stuff, there's days where you're going to go have that cheeseburger, but for me, it's about staying away from really bad foods late at night, like anything after 7 o'clock, just staying away from it. And when I do that, even while I was working out, I got heavy again at the end of last year. Christmas time, I was up to 284. That was my playing weight.
Yeah. Yeah. But even at 284, your body fat was like it went up for sure, but you just have a ton of muscle, but you can't weigh 284. We know that. You can't weigh 284.
It felt terrible. And so now I was 253 at the, at the InBody on Tuesday, Thursday. And I feel great. But I think this time it's not like I didn't go on a diet. I just kind of changed the way I was living. And I think that, a little bit had to do with age, right? I started, realizing that, at a certain age, you really got to put that kind of lifestyle away where you're eating stuff that you shouldn't eat and it makes you feel bad. Not to drag down the podcast here. You guys, but my brother was 61 when he died, complicated obesity. And, it was watching him, he worked all the time. He was a workaholic. And he set his office and he ate bad. He just, was a very large man. And you could tell, when he got his 60s, he started being unable to walk as well. And, that's too young for that, right? So there's some motivations like that for me to avoid that kind of lifestyle.
No, that's huge, Bob. And I know that I think about your brother a lot because I wish we could have got him into KBC. The men in general, my dad died at 61 as well. And so when your brother died, it hit me just thinking that is just too young. And, we control the controllables. There's always going to be things that we can't control with our health, but like doing the things that that you can do without having to be like perfect is really what we're trying to get for you guys. And that's why one of the reasons so many reasons why I love having men in our program. And I do love coaching men because I do believe that they like the team environment. And I see it in my own boys, already they miss being on a team. And I see when you guys are together, just you're joking and it's so welcoming and inviting too. It's like, a lot of you are very athletic. Like you were athletes, but there's a lot of guys that aren't, and they're fine. And no one makes anyone feel bad. It just feels like,
no, you go down the list, you got guys like, Barton, Ben, Bernie, Brandon, Chuck, all of these guys, Gary, even, we'll try to get Gary back into the mix, but Ken, Kitch, Mike O'Shea, Bo, Nick, Scott, Trung's a beast. I mean, all these guys are just amazingly in shape people and just the coolest people to be around too. So like, I'm always trying to promote Dude Camp, get more people in there because, if you go to one, you're going to end up liking it and end up being part of the program. So I don't know. We'll keep marketing. That's what we do, right? We're marketers.
Yeah, I know. I remember you made me feel so good, Bob, when I rebranded the van. I felt like I had got an approval from you because you looked out the window and you saw it and you're like, whoa. And you're serious about this. I'm like, hell yeah, Bob.
Great.
I'm not going anywhere, buddy. This is my mission. I'm on a mission.
I'm just glad I didn't end up on it.
No. I do get a little slack for that, but I didn't ask permission. You check a little box when you sign up, and it says if I have a picture, I can do whatever. I actually
no NIL money coming out for them.
No, but that's a good idea. We should take that to the next level. I know that you are very passionate about what you do, and you've started companies and sold companies, and where do you think you get that drive from? What's that? Where did that come from? Is that something you always had?
Like my easy joke around answer is that I'm completely unemployable. Right. Right. I just the last job I had as an employee was, I was a high school teacher, in Chicago for 2 years. I taught high school and coached football. And, I realized while I was doing that I probably needed to do my own thing, because I didn't understand a lot of times why people wanted me to do things. I always needed an explanation from somebody why they wanted me to do something before I did it. Right. And I got tired of, okay, well, why am I doing that? I'm not just going to do that because you're telling me to do it, because that would be dumb. But that's terrible. I'm not saying that's the right way to be, but for an entrepreneur, you kind of got to be that way. Right. And so, I owned a software development company for a lot of years. Then I started a digital marketing agency on that for a lot of years. And I've just started another one. We do a lot of CRM systems and stuff, but I'm actually in the process right now of buying a commercial construction company. I'm going full circle. I started out as a construction guy out of college. First 3 years, I was an iron worker in Chicago, which is great. Fantastic. I loved it. I loved being with the guys. But anyway, so I found this company down in Virginia Beach. I actually met with Andrew about it. Andrew.
Yeah, he told me about it. I didn't know if I was supposed to know, but I know about it. But I want you to tell everyone about it. I think sounds very promising.
So what is, it's called a Division 10 construction company. What they do is they do all the bathroom accessories in commercial buildings. They do schools, lockers, benches. So basically, once those buildings are up or they're need to be remodeled, they do stadiums. Anyway, they come in and they put these in. And so I found this little company where the older guy's retiring and the younger guy needed somebody to run the business. And there's a whole e-commerce piece to it that they have no idea how to do, because they're an old school company. And I own a digital agency, and that's what we do. So we're going to come in and we're going to build a whole e-commerce piece to it. So Andrew introduced me to the people at the SBA and at Capital One. And then Barton Phillips has a company now called SalesWit to help us on the government side. So all people that I've met.
Dude Camp, yeah.
All people I've met through Dude Camp, right? And so it's kind of cool. So we're in the process right now of getting the funding for it. It should close in October. And so I'm real excited about this one. It's the first time where I'm actually going to take all the skills as a marketer and not do it for other businesses. We're going to do it for a business that I own.
Well,
so
I think that there's so much to it, but it does seem like a great blend of your skill set. And I also think it speaks a little bit to your personality, because you're the kind of guy that could hang with business people, but you could also hang with people that are doing construction. I can really see that being just
it's a complete accident that I'm a white collar worker. I mean, if it wasn't for football, I'd be a cop or a fireman in Chicago right now. I mean, I'd be retiring as a cop or a fireman, because that wasn't in my future. I just happened to be good. Had to be good at this thing, and next thing you know, I'm playing football in college, and so I wound up getting a degree, and then it kind of changed my trajectory. But yeah, no, I'm a blue collar guy at heart. So I belong around those people. Always been really comfortable in that world. It's what I grew up in Chicago, blue collar neighborhood in Chicago. So very comfortable operating there.
I love that. And I also think that just for you, I love seeing you excited about something. Yeah. It's just your juices are going. It's fun. It's fun to see that.
It's easy to get bored, and I say building companies is a lot more fun than running them.
Yeah, well, and that's great. Your skill set. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. I love that. Well, I'm excited to kind of see what happens. Also, just in this world right now. Anything where there's construction, I mean, that's not going anywhere. People are always going to need those things. And there's so many things that are such questionable. Are we going to, is AI going to take over? That's something that's a no.
I'm not as pessimistic on the AI thing, because I was there. I started an internet company in 1996. 97, and the same things that were being said about that technology, about how it's going to, create 20-30% unemployment and all this other stuff. The same thing's being said about AI, and all that's going to happen, you're going to see, and is that there's just going to be, there's industries are going to be change. There's probably going to be industries that dies, but there's going to be whole new ones that are going to open up. People aren't all of a sudden just going to roll over and say, okay, well, AI took my job. I mean, it's not the way humans work. It's not, we're going to figure out how do we coexist with it, right? And how do we use it? But, I'm not on the side of it's going to decimate, like there's every technology that's ever been invented, people thought it was going to, kill all jobs. And, I remember that real estate, you talked to our friend Chuck and Sue, right? Remember the internet was going to get rid of real estate agents, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't. They're still here. They're alive and they're doing what they do. And so I think we're going to see the same thing with AI. I'm less afraid of it than a lot of people are.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. Do you use it?
No, absolutely. I mean, we're marketers, so I think what it's done is it's allowed us to do things a lot faster than we could before, right? And, there's certain things that I didn't like doing that I don't have to do now because I can have AI do it. Build AI agents that go out and they do things for you. But, but there will be some, like, I don't know, they call them the destructive forces of capitalism. Capitalism breaks things, it's just the world we live in, but then it builds them back up. And I think that there's going to be some things that get broken along the way, but they're going to be built back up. Right. So I don't have any advice as far as, how that's going to work, but I don't know. I'm enjoying it. But you're right though. It is a reason to buy a construction company because the AI can't turn screws and put stuff and put these bathrooms in. So
yeah, no, I think that's really, really brilliant. So what would you say, Bob? This might be a little just more personal because I have my boys, I would say, are similar to you. They have a little bit of an entrepreneur in them and they definitely have a team. They're very team minded. They love sports. Dalton in particular, I think, is trying to create his own path. What would be your advice to him?
Well, I already gave it. I met with Dalton. Dalton and I had lunch. We had lunch and we played golf and we talked about the new business. And Andrew asked me to meet with him, and I've talked to Andrew about it all because when they start out, they're a small business, and that's my world, right? Small business stuff. And so I actually introduced him to my CFO, and that runs my stuff for me because he's really great at small business, how to get those started and get going. And so, but I think where Dalton's right now is he's going to have to focus on it, right? Does he have the time to focus on it? Probably not because he's busy playing professional lacrosse, doing a lot of things he's doing. But it's going to take a big effort, right, to launch a company. And to leverage the relationships that he has. I think that's a huge thing in business. I think the number one thing in business is meeting as many people as you possibly can. Just meet everybody and remember, and at some point, the people that you meet are going to come back to you. You're going to need to, or you're going to be able to give them something. And I had a guy when I first started my first company, he said, just remember, Bob, be a giver, not a taker. Make sure you're helping other people get what they want, right? And if you can help people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And then the other thing, I had an old sales guy tell me one time I was selling him something, and I kept talking, and he finally stopped me. His name was Sid Woods. I'll never forget the guy. He said, Bob, stop. He goes, don't talk past the close, kid. He really wanted.
Yeah.
I kept talking. No one to shut up.
Yes, I think I suffer from that too. I like to get my word in, and sometimes nobody cares. That's really, really good advice. All right, well, so Bob, I would like you to give me some advice as a business owner. You know my business, and I think you know my mission, and you know our team. What would you say we should be doing or could be doing to grow or to stay in business? I mean, really, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So sometimes I get complacent. I'm like, we have great members. I love our members and I'm happy. But I also know that you have to continually work to grow and make it exciting and expand your offerings and do all those things. But I also am cautious to stay in my lane and not to just be like a Walmart of health and fitness.
That is the trick that you have, right? It's the hard part. It's like you built this awesome community and everybody, like, there's so many people that know each other, that hang out outside of, you've made a lot of relationships. You've made a lot of people meet a lot of other people, right? I've met so many people now that I consider really good friends because I joined, right? We've gone to football games together. We've done a lot of really cool things outside. And so, that's something that you're not going to get at, like, let's say one of these, big box gyms, right? You're not going to get that. And so, how do you promote that? That's a tough one. And I would say that getting more guy members is going to be, that's a struggle. I know it is. I do think that maybe, I know Ted's talking about becoming a trainer too. I think having a guy trainer, you've never had. I don't know if you had one like a guy like Ted doing it, and I think that I think he'll be fantastic at it. So maybe that's something, right? I think promoting the individual trainers really well, which you already do. You already do a great job of that. Beyond spending a ton of money on marketing, right? It's just word of mouth. I mean, it's kind of how yours is.
Should I spend more money on marketing?
Yeah,
I don't spend any.
Like the problem with spending money on marketing is, like, you can get to a point where you're giving yourself the illusion of marketing, where you're not spending it enough to make an impact, but you're spending something, and so your money is not doing anything for you because you're not able to spend enough money, and the numbers just aren't working out. I don't know. Maybe incentivize. You probably already do it. Like, incentivize the members to go ahead and bring in another member. I'm sure you already do something like that. Like at my golf club, like Chantilly, what they do is they give you a month free if you bring a member. Not anymore because they're full. We had like 3 slots left this year. Yeah, they're absolutely 100% full. So, but it used to be where they were trying to get members, and so they had all these different programs. One of them was bring a member in, and you get a month free. I one thing I did see is, like, every year Glory Days, Glory Days. I coached football. I coached SYA football for 6 or 7 years. One of the things the Glory Days they cornered the market on the shirts. So we had the Glory Days Bowl every year, and they had the Glory Days shirts, and they gave out thousands of these shirts. I mean, literally thousands, right? And those shirts, for years, they were everywhere. You couldn't turn a corner without seeing these shirts. So I always say swag and things like that, where people are wearing your stuff.
Yeah. You like gear. I remember that from the very beginning. You're like, give me some of these. You like.
You pay $3. You pay what, $4 or $5 for a shirt, and
no, I don't, because I like quality clothes. But
this is a volume play. This is sponsor the local Loudon sports team, right? Sponsor those sports teams. People see your name. I think that's because yours all about seeing the name, right? Oh, what's this energy thing? So I think that would be something for you.
That's no, I should do more of that. I like that. All right, we're going to go back to health and fitness. I'm using this as like a business coaching call. You never know what you're going to get with this podcast.
Right?
But if you could give maybe the Bob that started back in 2022, I know I don't think you were hesitant. I think Ted was a big help for you because you knew somebody, but you probably, some guys here, like, fitness studio classes, and they think that's not for me. That's like not something that I would like. You definitely touched on it already, but just try it and just show up and just try a class. But what advice would you give kind of the person that, like, okay, I'll say like Andrew, when this was years ago, going back decades, but he's like, I don't like working out with other people. That's what he would say. Or I don't know. This is what he would say. This is even better. I don't like working out just for the act of working out. I want to be like playing a sport or something. Wow. And of course, who doesn't, right? Like, I totally get that. But like, there comes a time in your life where you don't have a game every day. So what would you say to that person, Bob?
When I first showed up, I would say that give it a chance, stick with it, because, there are some things that I felt dumb doing, right?
Okay.
Like literally, like when we stand there before class.
Yep, warm up.
And they make and this one. They make me do that one.
The wheel.
The wheel. Every time I do the wheel, I feel like an idiot. And me and the guys all joke around about the wheel.
I haven't done the wheel in a long time.
I know. Maybe. It's funny because you're dancing on one foot, then dancing on the other foot.
Oh, tap and reach.
But the reality is just shut up. It's fun, right? It's part of the deal. All you're doing is you're getting warmed up for the exercise. Doesn't matter what you do. You flip your arms up and down. Doesn't matter.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. That is so true.
It doesn't matter. You're just getting warmed up. Like you say about cardio. The cardio doesn't matter. You're doing cardio. Pick a move and make your heart rate go up. Like we do on Monday night. And so I think that's the thing with me. It was like, but luckily, I picked the right class to go to first, right? I picked boot camp. Then I eased into the other ones. Even I love step. I never thought I would like step. I know we only get a little bit of step on Monday nights, and if step was I love the early mornings. I love the step in the morning, but I just got it's not, it's I forget what day it is, Thursday morning, and I got a meet at Thursday. I got a conflict Thursday morning. But I do love step. I think it's fun. And I never in a million years thought, I tell people I would go to step class. They're like, you go to, and of course they chuckle. They say, you go to step class? I'm like, yeah, it's great.
It is great. It's a great workout. It's very athletic. People don't realize it's very athletic.
Very athletic. And it's hard to, the other thing I know about step is it gets your brain going. That's one thing that's completely underrated about this whole workout. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
Completely underrated is the brain work that goes into what we do.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of thinking that you're exercising, but you're thinking about the moves and you're thinking about and so you got to think while your body's being taxed.
Yeah.
And I think that is an underrated thing about what we do at KBC as far as that goes.
Brain health, for sure.
I know when I'm distracted, I got a million things. I came into class at 4:30, whatever, and I'm distracted. I got the whole work day in my head. I know I'm not able to do things we've got to do that require thinking. I'm not able to do those as well.
Yeah. That's interesting too, but hopefully there's a point where your brain, I see it happening in class. I've been teaching for so long and I just feel people and I feel what's happening and I feel them come in with heavy, I see their expressions, I see the way their body's moving, and that's why we do the warm up. That's why we do the moves to just clear your head. Sometimes I'll even say it. Sometimes we'll be I'm okay, just shake it out. It's all gone. You're here now. And that's what you just said it, Bob. This is going to be a perfect ending. That's what I want people to know, that they don't need to worry about when they walk in the door. We got you. We got a workout for you. We're going to set it up. We're going to get you a great workout in 45 minutes or an hour. We're going to do the mobility. We're going to do the brain health. We're going to do the strength. We're going to do the stretching. We're going to do some core work. We're going to do it all. You just show up and let your body experience it. We want people to feel like they're experiencing something and they don't have to worry about it, because everyone, they're not necessarily entrepreneurs or businessmen or whatever, but everyone's coming in after having to do a lot of other things for other people. And we want them to come in and say, this is for me. This is my time. This is just pour into me. That's what we want our members to feel. So I'm really glad you said that.
It goes away quick. The stress gets knocked out really quick.
Yeah. You see it. And then in the end, people are smiling and laughing. And it's oh, well, that only took an hour, or that only took 45 minutes. That's one of the things that I do for myself, because I like to be productive. That's just something that I value. And I like to feel like my time is being well spent. And sometimes I look at what I get done in a home in 45 minutes or an hour. And then I look at what we do in the studio and I'm like, I should just do this all day for people, because this is so much better value of time. So, well, Bob, speaking of time, I know you have a lot going on, and I'm very grateful that you gave me your time today. I've been wanting to have you on the podcast, and the other day, I'll tell everyone why our conversation, we were texting, and the InBody is giving us different data that I could ever see before, and it ranks everybody. And I don't know everyone's phone number, so it's not don't worry. I'm not looking. Don't worry. I don't think it ranks everybody. It gave me a top 10, and I'm like, oh, I'm curious who's number one, and it was Bob. So I don't know the exact. And Bob's like, no way, and I don't know the exact formula, but it has to have to do with skeletal muscle mass, because Bob has a ridiculous amount of skeletal muscle mass. Even when you first came, even when you were overweight, your line was off the sheet. And that's partly his genetics. Like you said, he's 6'4", he's big guy, and he's played football. I mean, that's what he's born to do. But I just was really proud of him that he has that number one status at KBC. So I was like, see, Bob, this is why I need to have you on the podcast. So that's how we got Bob on today.
That's great. Yeah, I was shocked. Let's keep it up, right? Let's keep going. Got to keep going. Be there Sunday. We got a dude camp on Sunday, and then just keep it going.
This will come out on Monday. So if anyone's listening to this and thinking, my husband should go to dude camp, or I should go to dude camp, this would be a great time to get started. You could be the new Bob, because Bob started in October. He started in the fall, so we're looking for more Bobs.
That was my name for a long time. For the first year, I was new Bob. New Bob. You called me new Bob for a year.
Yeah. Well, no, we don't call you new Bob anymore, but we're keeping you. We're keeping you, Bob. We're very grateful. You add a lot to this community. I'm grateful for all of the things that you said today. It really means a lot, and we're going to keep you healthy. And you can tell your doctor to send us all of his Bobs and Mo's.
I got an appointment on Tuesday. I'll make sure I let him know.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to send you with a stack of cards.
Awesome. All right, Kelly.
Okay, Bob. Thank you so much again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. See you Sunday.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.